Hello, this is the DIY Magician, and I want to tell you a little bit about pallets. You know, we'll talk more about it in the shop, but right here is where you're going to want to look carefully at what you've got. Now, before you do anything with pallets, any type of work like this around things that you're not aware of, you want to get some safety glasses on, and you definitely want to put some gloves on. These are good, sturdy gloves. I think I got them from Costco. They're good leather gloves. So now, when you're looking at pallets, you want to make sure that you get a pallet that is right for the job, but you also want to make sure that you don't get ones that are private property. Now, this one here looks like it came from a company that is a paving company, it looks like. Something like that. Anyways, probably not want to use this one. Okay? This one here is perfect because it's already busted up a bit. You know, a good pallet is something that you want to be able to reuse. A company can take them, sell them to somebody else. But these pallets here are perfect because you've got some good material right here, here. In addition to that, you've got the support beams here. Okay, so I think this is one we'll take. Set it off to the side. Okay. Now that we know where to find the pallets, we have to use the right tools to break it down. Starting off with any job, you want to wear some good safety glasses, and if necessary, in this particular case it is necessary, you want to wear some good sturdy gloves. In addition to those, you want to have two items when breaking down a pallet. This is the main two items. One is you want a really nice thin, and I'm talking thin, breaker bar. This is, I believe, a 21-inch. It is an east wing. It has a very fine, thin blade. That's really important when you're getting in between the pallet runners, actually the runners and the planks themselves. In addition to that, you want to have this, and this is a dead blow hammer. The dead blow hammer is designed to have shot or BBs inside the head of the hammer, so when you hit it and hit it like this, it gives an extra oomph to get the break anything loose. And because it's rubber, when you're going against the breaker bar, you're gonna keep the noise down to a minimum. Now, if you don't have a rubber dead blow hammer and you do have a breaker bar, you're probably going to want to wear some sort of ear protection, and of course be inside an area that is not going to annoy the neighbors. But other than that, those are the basic tools that you'll need to break down your normal pallets. So let's figure out how we go from there. Now let's actually break down a pallet. Breaking down a pallet's very easy to do. Again, you need the pallet, of course, but what I've found is very important is to have some sort of support. And I use a little pallet to use as a support measure. Now, what you're going to want to do is have the pallet upside down, because the way the pallet is designed, it's nailed down like this. So this is the bottom, but for this purpose, it's the top. So they're nailed through this way. So trying to pry it up, you're going to splinter it just like this. If it's upside down like this right here, you can get underneath it and push down to get a better leverage on it. Okay? Let me show you how I do it. You take your, actually let's get your gloves on here. Gloves are handy to have, no pun intended. But I'll tell you what, having a good pair of gloves really makes the difference. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to get your foot in here, get a good stable support to give it some leverage, okay? You're going to want to get the breaker bar right underneath the runner and right where the plank is. And you want to give it a little bit of tap, just like that, okay? And then pry, just pry a little bit, just like that. You're giving it just, you hear it till it's cracking, till you hear that. Then you've got it loose. Now you want to shift. When you get to another spot like there, okay, you're kind of shifting side to side to do each nail at a time. Now if you listen, it's doing good, okay? You're shifting back. You're just doing a little bit at a time. So now I can get it much deeper in, give much more leverage. There we go. All right, okay. So now you've actually pulled the nail loose. Now you want to go to the next step, which is the next support member. Tap it in like that. Now that you've broken this one loose, it's going to be a little easier to get this next one going here. Again, you take it really slow like I'm doing, just like this. Okay, and then you switch it over. Much further in this time. Okay, oh, see, it's, there you go. Now you don't need the hammer. You can just kind of get it in there, and you're just doing a little bit of time. Now, see that? Okay. Now it's much further down. Now you're going onto the next support beam. Okay. Tap, tap, tap. There we go. Okay, you're just breaking that nail loose. You're going to the other side. So again, if there are 2 nails on the board, you're going side to side, getting a nail at a time. Okay. There we go. Now it's loose enough where you can, oh, see, there it goes. Okay. Now this one you have to kind of go the opposite direction, but it does the same thing. You're still using the leverage of the breaker bar. Oh, okay, that's okay. If you hear that little crack, you want to take it really slow though. Really slow. Okay, hang on. And we're almost done. Oh, this is perfect. Okay. Then you might have to go back a couple times in a couple of spots. Like that. And there it is. Okay. Let's get our tools out of the way. Alright. And here you go. Now you've got a perfect board, just like this. Good piece of board. Now you'll see that the nails are there, of course. What you want to do is you want to have a little staging area. So when you're taking these boards out so that you're not going and doing more work than you have to all at once, you take the boards out, you set them off to the side, nails down, in an area that you know you're not going to be walking around in. When you're finished with the pallet, then you're going to come back and you're going to take the nails out. And in just a moment, I'll show you how that's done. Okay, that's an elapsed time of about 10 minutes on that pallet there. Some larger pallets might take up to 15 to 20 minutes, so you've got about a 10 to 20 minute range to break down an entire pallet. That's just the breakdown part. Then you have this next part. This is the most important part. This is where you make it safe to use. So you're taking your plank of wood here. I was actually able to successfully remove all the planks that were originally one piece when I got it. They all came off just perfectly, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to need to use your gloves, your safety glasses, and you're going to use a basic claw hammer, okay? Don't use the plastic one on this. It'll actually mess up your plastic hammer. So what I usually do, in addition to that, is use this 30-gallon trash can. It's a plastic trash can. It makes it easy to work on the nails, keep the board stable, and in case there's a problem, it'll just drop right into the trash can. So what I do is I start off on the outside here, and I flip the board over. So that's the normal way the board should be. I flip it over so the nail point is up. Make sure I don't put my hand on the nails, and I tap them out. Okay? So, you just shift it over and you keep working till you get all the nails tapped out. Sometimes you'll have a little bit of trouble. Again, shift it back to this side. And I'll usually turn it around and make it easier over here because I'm right-handed. Left-handed, you're going to do the opposite way. Or just live in a right-handed world. Okay, so there we go. We got them all facing up now. Super easy to do. Now, normally on the claw hammer I use, this is one I just grabbed at random, it has a little V-notch on the end here. That's what you're going to use to pull that head off. It makes it easier to get it. Otherwise, you just practice and do it without the V-notch. Now, something to keep in mind about these nails. They're good to save. In fact, I have a whole bucket of them here, and I store them away inside for future use. They're good to save, but because these are shot out of a nail gun, there's a little sliver right here on the edge, you know, the actual part of the nail that sticks out, and that's where they were all tied together. That's going to get pointy and it's rusty, and you don't want to mess with that. So you just want to keep an eye on where you're grabbing the nail. Sometimes the nails are going to be bent, and sometimes they're going to be really, really rusty. Sometimes they don't come out. But this one here is a semi-bent one, okay? Now that's okay to use for other projects. Again, if you're going to be using this wood and material to make something rustic, then it might be good to have these nails. Okay, so keep them in mind. Doesn't matter if they're bent. We've all used bent nails. You just work with them. Okay, so you get all the nails off, just like that. Sometimes, again, you gotta give it a little force, and we'll pick those up later. There we go. Okay, and then swing it around so that you're always working in a good, safe direction. Okay. There we go. Okay, oh, that one's a real bent one, but I'm going to keep it anyway. So now you've got your basic runner or plank. That's the easiest one. Now, if you're working with the other part, the runner or the base of the pallet, these work great, and I'll tell you about this in a second. But these ones, sometimes when you're popping the planks off, you'll have a nail sticking out like that. Now you want to keep an eye on both sides, because this is the inside of the pallet. And when you're doing these, again, you're just using your muscle on this one. You get it in there, and then you're pulling it out like that. Okay? So there's your nail there. Now, say for instance you had a really tough one. What I usually do is I use this other tool here. This is the gripper, the quick gripper. This is nice because it will work on nails that have no heads. Sometimes when you're trying to pry this off, it'll actually pop that nail loose, the head loose I should say, and then it becomes impossible to get off. Now I don't have one here that has a, well actually I do. Nope, that's a sliver of wood. I don't think I have any that have the heads popped off, but another time we'll talk about the quick gripper. But the main thing is it gets inside here, just like this, and as you're using it, it pulls right like that, and it really pulls it out easy. So again, we'll go in depth on this quick gripper another time, but it gives you an idea of something else you might need for popping these loose. So when you're done with the whole pallet, you're going to have all these runners here. You're going to have the planks, and what you're going to want to do is you want to keep them separated out. I usually put all these planks together, so if it's from one pallet, I'll stick the same planks together so I know I can use those for a specific project. Now on these runners, you can use them like this for different purposes, but it's kind of an odd shape. Now this particular one has a split right there, and it's average. But what you can do, and what I've done in the past, is take this and run it through your table saw, and you can actually come out with some really nice either 2x3s or 2x2s to use these with. And this is a good measurement to work with. It'll still give you that rustic edge. So if you cut this part off here, you've got the rustic edge on the outside, and you've got your own 2x2s. When you're doing that, make sure that you pull all the nails out though, okay? So that's pretty much it. That is how to break down a pallet. You've got the runners, the planks, and you've got your project started right there. Again, this is the DIY Magician, and this is how I break down pallets for use.